Hi, my name is Tina. Thanks for spending time with me today. Over the weekend, I learned an important lesson, or maybe I was just reminded of this lesson. I was reminded that Joseph in the book of Genesis, who was in so many ways a character comparable to our Lord Jesus because of his morality in the face of everything that he went through. But I learned that Joseph, even though he was betrayed by his brothers, even though they were going to kill him but decided to sell him into slavery, even though he ended up a slave and eventually was lied on and thrown into prison to be forgotten. Through all that he went through, Joseph was more blessed in that prison than his betraying brothers were in their supposed freedom. And he knew it because he realized, and I don't know at what point he realized it, but at some point he realized he had to go through what he was going through because something better was at the end of God's plan. God had already given him dreams and showed him, I'm going to do some great things in your life, Joseph. And I believe that as he was going through the slavery and as he was living a life never even imaginable for him, I can think that he was actually holding on to the dreams and promises that God had given him. And that's what kept him going. And that's what kept him pure in the face of temptation. When somebody was trying to destroy him, he stood firm, he stood his ground, knowing what would please God and knowing what would destroy him. And in the end, in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20, he told those brothers that had hurt him, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to save many lives." So you see, that's why Paul was able to write after being imprisoned, after being beaten, after being tortured, after being stoned, so many things that Paul went through, but he was able to write in Romans 8:28, "We know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose." Just like Joseph, Paul realized that God had a bigger plan. And all of those good things that had led Joseph up to that point, and all of the bad things that he was sitting in, and all the things that Paul had went through, his conversion, and everything else that Paul had went through, he realized, just like Joseph, that all of these things were working together for the good. Have you ever been in those kind of situations in your life? It just seems like nothing is going according to your plan, according to the way that you thought God would bring your goals, your ambitions, your dreams, your calling. It just didn't look like it was going to happen because that's not the picture that you had drawn. It's not the entries you had written into your journal. But you know, God has already got your life written. And when he's holding the pen, when he's the author and the finisher of your faith, beautiful things happen because he works the bad, the good, and the ugly. He works it all for your good. And that's what trust is. Being confident that no matter what happens, the enemy means it for evil, but God, he can turn it around for our good. I hope that you've had a great weekend and that you're ready to start a wonderful week. I pray blessings in your life, and I really appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today.